Hi, this is Jeff Lamb, the Academic Senate President, and I'm here with Rob Seamus. And of course, we're going to talk about the integrated planning process. And specifically here, we're looking at the training module for operational proposals. Rob, thanks for coming to talk to me.
Glad to be here, Jeff.
So the first question probably is what is an operational proposal? And the second one that probably is going to be all included is, what's the difference between a strategic versus an operational proposal?
Good questions. Apples and oranges, right? Strategic is a much broader level of change. Proposal is usually multiple year, probably larger expense involving several units on the college. Operational proposal really comes from within a unit itself. It only involves the unit and would normally be paid for out of a unit's budget, but it's just, the funds might not be there. It's sort of a unit level versus a college-wide level.
So we could think of the Umoja program as strategic and getting funding for a foreign language immersion night as operational.
Correct. Yeah, that's a good example.
So what do I use an operational proposal for?
Well, we could talk about what we don't use them for and define them that way. We could say, you wouldn't use it for things that are normally supplied, like instructional supplies, instructional materials. Definitely faculty staff hiring is all funded by a totally different process. What they are used for are those smaller, I guess, activities or programs within a unit that maybe require one time, maybe a small amount of ongoing funds to get them started.
Okay. So it's not a laundry list?
Not a laundry list, no.
So if I've got a great idea, so what do I do? What is this process going to do for me?
Well, one of the advantages, I think, of following through on a proposal process, operation proposal, is that it helps you sort of flesh out your ideas to connect with other people in your unit,
right,
so that you've got unit support. You can talk about it. You can develop an approach and ideas how this is going to get used, or how it's going to impact other areas within your unit. Again, and it gives you time to actually gather some data to really understand what it is, what the impact of this proposal would be, right, and maybe set up a timeline. And the data that you collect will lead into how you're going to evaluate the success of your proposal. Just like anything else, you're going to be required to evaluate the outcome of this proposal.
Got it. Perfect. So, boy, it always seems like there's always a ton of forms. Why do we have the need for so many forms?
We live in a bureaucratic society. Actually, the advantages of forms is that they generally act as a template to gather the information we're trying to communicate. They provide an easier way for people to look at and evaluate an idea. They keep track of activities and ideas so that we don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. If something, right, they force you to really think through the implementation of a program or a process. As you're filling out the form, you may come across things that you haven't thought of. It's a vehicle that can communicate to others what's going on in your area.
So now, what's the process on all this? How does it all happen?
We've tried to make it not complicated, and so essentially I think the first step is have the idea, and then come into the Office of Research and Planning, and we'd be happy to help you get started and to give you information on where to go next.
So I had a great idea, and it went through the process, and Superintendent President said it's a go. When do I get the money? How does that work?
Well, because it's an operational proposal, and they're usually quite a bit less expensive, let's say, because you've gone through this process and it's out there that people see it, if it's really garnered a lot of support, there may be an opportunity to gather funds even that year to fund something with a little extra money that's been left over here. Or they can, normally, the proposals are for the following budget year, so that they're actually put into the budgeting system in the fall, spring, or academic year.
Uh-oh. And then if my proposal gets rejected or not accepted, what happens?
Well, you can learn from that, I guess. And when you say not accepted, I mean there are points along the road where people may say, well, you know, good idea, but you need to flesh it out.
Right.
So that's not being really rejected. It's saying, you know, it might fly, but you need to do some more works on the motor and the wings. When it gets all the way to the end, usually it fits into the strategic plans, you know, your 3-year plans, your program review. It could be it's the right idea but the wrong time. I mean, you always have the option of trying it again, looking for outside funding,
right.
tweaking it a different way. I mean,
I think the plus is on this thing, on the integrated planning process is in the past, you'd have a good idea, and you might never know why it didn't get funded or why it wasn't. You know,
Right.
you were kind of raging against the machine, and you didn't know
Right.
why it got funded or didn't. And with the integrated planning process, you know, as it hits those delta points on its path to full implementation and funding, you know why it didn't make
yes,
the cut.
absolutely. You
Right.
know,
You know, at Solano, sometimes things can fall through the cracks. And so how is it that we can be sure that these good ideas don't fall through the cracks?
well, getting them started in the process is one thing, and then actually the IPP through PERT is looking at a meta level to make sure that the processes are working and that in general things don't fall through the crack.
Right.
On an individual project level, those are all tracked individually, and we've set up a procedure to track them as they go through the various review groups and shared governance and all of that.
Well, that'll be helpful. So, okay, give me the inside scoop. What are some of the key things to consider if I'm going to put forward an operational proposal?
Well, again, operational proposals are coming from within the unit, and so probably the strongest ones are if they grow organically from within the unit, having roots in the SLO or SAOs that we've been gathering data and assessment data and making proposals on over time. They should be connected and grounded in program review, which
Right.
they would be if they're
Right.
SLO, SAO, and be reflected in the unit's 3-year plan.
Right.
So this shows that there's been thought provided, there's some goal
Right.
and some measurement goal, and it fits into the whole unit's plan.
And of course, it also connects to show how it connects to our strategic plans and
Absolutely.
master plan.
Everything flows down from the strategic plan and the master plan. You'd be surprised if things weren't connected, but they definitely have to show the
Right.
connection there.
And of course, data here, we've put it in capital letters because data, data-driven decisions are important.
That's absolutely right. And again, not only as the rationale for the importance of the idea, the concept, the proposal, but also as a baseline data that would feed into an evaluation
Right.
of success. The evaluation process, or what it is, how you're going to evaluate the outcome, it should be part of the proposal.
Yes.
And your data can be part of the baseline
Right.
for that evaluation, and
Right.
you're looking for so much improvement or
Anything else I should know as I go forward with a proposal that might help its success?
well, I think it would be a very useful thing for someone with with an idea for writing or putting forward a proposal to take a look at what the other groups, what are going to be using to evaluate your proposal. There's each group, a review group, the Shared Governance Council, FabPack,
Right.
all have various criterion that they're looking at,
Got it.
information they're looking for in the proposal. And so if you can sort of beat them to the punch, you take a look at what they're going to be looking for and address those issues up front, it'll make that proposal that much easier and much smoother to move its way through.
That's great.
And you find all those, of
Right.
course, in the general IPP document, the integrated planning process, and that's available on our website,
Right.
the college website.
Right.
Copies in research and planning office.
Sure.
You could talk to any of the PERT members,
Right. Deans.
deans. They should all be able to get you that information.
Great. Well, it seems like that's the. Good luck, I guess, is the last one. Lots of good people with good ideas, and I think this is a great step forward
Yeah.
for Solano College.